This Basics of Risk Management series is brought to you by Risk Garage. Part 3. Risk Identification Techniques. In the first two videos, we talked about basics of risk identification and formulation of risk description. We briefly touched on the brainstorming technique for risk identification. In this video, I would like to share with you the available risk identification techniques that could be useful to you. Let's begin. Technique number 1. Brainstorming. Brainstorming is the most commonly adopted method, and involves the open discussion among a group of personnel to identify and assess risks. A brainstorming session is normally led by a facilitator, and all the participants are encouraged to express their ideas openly in the discussion without receiving criticisms or comments from the others. The purpose is to generate a large quantity of potential risks to a project. The risks identified will then be grouped and reviewed. The optimum size of a brainstorming group should consist of 12 members. The appropriate mix of group members in terms of knowledge, experience, and expertise is essential to ensure that the brainstorming session is effective. Technique number 2. Delphi Technique. The Delphi Technique, which was developed by the RAND Corporation, is the method of using group judgment in forecasting. A group of qualified individuals is selected in the exercise, and a questionnaire is sent to each participant for identifying and assessing risks. Then, responses are collected anonymously from the participants. After collating and summarizing the information, the preliminary results are sent back to the participants for feedbacks. The results are revised for a few rounds until a set of consistent results can be finalized. This technique is more time-consuming and expensive compared to the brainstorming technique. Email, or a web questionnaire platform like Mentimeter and SurveyMonkey, can be utilized to shorten the response time. Another shortcoming of this technique is, due to the lack of interaction and communication, the participants may encounter difficulties in interpreting the questions and results. Technique number 3. Interviews. Interviews with experts and project personnel are conducted on a one-to-one basis. Their opinions on risks affecting a project are captured during the interviews. Due to the time limitation, the questions must be properly structured in order to effectively gather the required information. Vague and confusing questions should be avoided so that the feedbacks gained from the interviewees are not misleading. This technique is also time-consuming. Another concern about this technique is that the information acquired based on expert subjective judgments may not be free from bias. Technique number 4. Checklists. Checklists contain the data of risks identified in the past projects, and a specific checklist is normally available for a particular type of work activities. They are often used as an aid to the risk identification process, aimed at minimizing the reoccurrence of the risks, which have affected the previous projects. Nevertheless, the use of checklists to initiate the risk identification process is not advisable, since they will confine the finding of new risks. Technique number 5. Cause and effect diagrams. Cause and effect diagrams, which are also known as Ishikawa or fishbone diagrams, are a graphical presentation of the relationships between risk factors and their effects. In each diagram, only an effect is allowed and its causes are identified and listed in the fishbone structure. However, their rigid and inflexible structure does not allow the evaluation of the relationships between the risks. Moreover, as a cause and effect diagram becomes more complex, it will be difficult to find and compare items that have the same distance from the effect because they are dispersed over the diagram. Nowadays, there are some web tools that can improve the flow of risk discussion. Those I have used include Mural and the whiteboard in Microsoft Teams meeting. Please share with me other tools you have used before. Thank you, and see you again.